anyways, fast forward to like 20 years ago now, and ended up being in between jobs. When I say in between jobs, it means I literally quit my job to go do this. That's what I mean by in between jobs. And
How old were you when you
I
started?
was 30. I'm 56 now, so I guess I was 35.
Oh,
35. So yeah, so I quit my job, which reminds me of a great quote by a friend of mine that I always, share. It's I never had a job I quit too soon, and that's actually been true in all the jobs I've quit, with the possible exception of one. But the jury's still out on that. But so yeah, so I quit my job and I got into public education right when I got back from that trip. Quit my job, flew down, started walking on the Pacific Crest Trail. At that time, it was information was still a little bit hard to come by. When I was growing up reading about it, there's only a couple of books out there on it.
Yeah.
So I had those books, because I read a lot growing up when I was a kid. There was a couple guidebooks now published on the Pacific Crest Trail 20 years ago. Internet was new. It was like a listserv, where there was an email listserv. I think if I remember that's what it was called. So there was some information getting out, but it was still pretty rare for people to through hike that. And a lot more people attempt it now. I'm not sure if they finish. More people finish probably. They got popular because some woman had a midlife crisis and wrote a wonderful book about healing, while hiking on that trail. For me personally, like a couple years prior to that, I'd given up alcohol completely. I know I talked about partying growing up.
Hmm.
Um, so tomorrow will be 24 years since I drank alcohol.
hey, congratulations.
Good job.
Yeah. So and thank you. And it's like, um, I'm sure everyone would thank me. Actually, they'd be the ones saying, they'd be like, thank you for not drinking alcohol anymore. So no, it's like, but I am grateful because if in terms of like longevity and like just the physical body, I can't really think of too many things that are worse than alcohol,
Yeah.
Oh
besides
yeah.
maybe just continuous head trauma maybe and things like that. But definitely like has enhanced my life just not drinking alcohol over the years, and hopefully I can hopefully it'll pay off like in terms of longevity and vitality.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
So
sure it already is. Like, alcohol is such a big part of our culture, but it's like it
yeah,
drives up your risk factors for everything. Like,
right.
there's no goodness from it. You know.
Yeah, that's like, and I never preach about it, and I'm fine. Actually, down here, it's like I go listen to music at the bar or whatever, or just hang out with people, or go to get food. So there's no judgment there. But just for me, it's like I can't think of anything worse to put in my body, and a lot of other people would agree with that.
Drinks the
Would-
water. It's like he's been
Yeah,
selling water this whole time.
yeah.
His new water
If you
company.
go onto my page, find
So
mountain water.
yeah, but the reason I brought that is because I had quit alcohol, before that. So I was like, all right, I quit alcohol. I'm going to quit this job. I'm going to go do this thing I wanted to do. And I'd done some other long distance hiking too, but this trip was awesome in a couple different ways. One, it made me realize how little I actually needed to be happy, basically just to be happy, like how little stuff. Because I started out with more stuff than I ended up with. Because as I went in California, it just doesn't rain. I had this nylon shelter, like a tarp. I mailed that thing to the Columbia River, so I went 1,000 miles without my a tarp. I went 1,000 miles without pants, no pants.
Just Winnie the Pooh in it.
No, I had a pair of running shorts, one
I know.
pair of running
I was
shorts,
teasing.
John
and a
likes to party.
shirt. So I had one pair of running shorts, a shirt. I went through 5 pairs of shoes, a couple pairs of socks. I did have a sweater that I still have, and I had a sock hat because I would sleep in it. We're talking about summer in California, even in the mountains. Thunderstorms are a risk, but in my experience, that summer at least, they were all dry thunderstorms, so dry lightning, which is a risk. I mean, if I could tell you how many days I swore I would never hike on a high mountain ridge in a lightning storm, it was like this is the last time. It's like, God, just let me make it across this ridge without getting struck by lightning. And I'll find myself doing the exact same thing the next day. But so I had a pair. So I had these shorts, and I would just be out in the sun. So they all got UV damaged, right? So they used to be black shorts, and they're like purple and gray and everything. So the funniest part was like, by the time I got to Lake, so I started in Mexican border. By the time I got to Lake Tahoe, South Lake Tahoe, I want to say it's, I don't know, 1,700 miles maybe. The whole trail's 2,600 and change. And I heard you guys talking about the 26.2 sticker. I always wanted to get a sticker that said 2,658.7. But people would be like, what the hell?
People would have no idea. Like,
What is this? What is this? I don't like those stickers either, because I feel anyone can cover 26.2 before they. I mean, there's people doing it after the race, after the organizers go home. The cops left. There's no one, they're still out there. So
Yeah.
it's a challenge. It's a long ways to go, but anyone can do it in a day. You might be just wrecked. If you're out of shape doing that, you just be wrecked the next day. But anyways, getting back to South Lake Tahoe, I show up South Lake Tahoe emaciated, essentially. You simply cannot get enough calories in, because I was averaging, some days I was hitting almost 40 miles a day.
Yeah.
Some days were harder. I think I averaged like a marathon every day for 105 days or something. That includes rest days. So I roll into South Lake Tahoe emaciated, weighing like 175 probably, which is pretty lean for me. It's like the leanest I've ever been. But UV damaged, all I had was shorts, UV damaged running shirt, running shorts. Walked into Caesar's Palace in South Lake Tahoe to the buffet. There's like fat families, just like, I'm just in there. I just consumed, prime rib. They're all looking at me. I'm like stinky, like I literally look like some sort of just homeless
Woods
dude.
man.
Huh? Yep. So I just consumed till I couldn't anymore. Walked back to this hotel where I was gonna sleep that night, and on my way back, bought a pint of Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Threw my one pair of shorts and my shirt in the wash. Wrapped myself in a towel and just ate Ben and Jerry's there. So I started like trying to get more calories in after that. I think that's the point where it stopped being healthy.
Yeah.
Just like everything else, it's like there's a point where it's healthy, and then you reach a point where it's just isn't healthy anymore. So, but thankfully, I like to embrace the suck, as Josh put it. So I was able to keep walking. And by the time I got to Washington, it really hadn't rained from Mexico to Snoqualmie Pass. That's how far I got before it rained. It was like sunny every day with a few thunderstorms thrown in. Only one time I had to roll up in my poncho. That was my shelter. I rolled up like a burrito in a poncho one night because it started to, spit a little rain. But when I got to Snoqualmie Pass, it started raining, and I got trench foot. I was hiking through the Alpine Lakes Wilderness, where I'd hiked when I was a 16-year-old kid when my mom dropped me off, and I couldn't get my feet dry. There was brush, was wet, everything was wet, and my foot just got raw and started just weeping sores, just like, so that really sucked. The last, I don't know, the last few hundred miles were really tough, but at that point it was like, not gonna quit.
Yeah, you can't make it that far.
Yeah.
Then you got to do it again.
So that was an awesome trip, because I realized how little I needed. And then this is the other thing that was interesting about that trip is, we're social animals, and I soloed this. There was other people out there, and I formed loose association with a couple of people, but if you have a family, and you miss those people for a while, and then you don't anymore, which is, that was my experience. You don't miss them as much. It's sort of like when someone dies, where it's like very intense, the emotion's intense up for a while, and then it sort of isn't as intense anymore. So I found that, of course, I loved my family still, but I wasn't finding myself like missing them anymore. I was just more happy with where I was that day in the moment. There's really no stuff. So it was a good psychological exercise for me also.